Welcome to this episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I am your host, founder, and executive director of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. Thank you for joining us. If you can give us a thumbs up, if you subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff that's free also will help us to reach our goal of trying to reach 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. And don't know if we'll get there, but we have a huge goal. And without your love and support, we wouldn't be this far down the journey with us. So we are going to pick up our conversation with Scott, otherwise known as EdgiScript, his username. You probably heard of him, Spirit Man, and we're going to pick up our part two of the conversation where Scott was talking about an individual who is now near and dear to his heart due to the work that both of them undertook, and then we'll move on in the conversation after that and let everybody know where they can find your work, keep up to date with you, and all that fun stuff. So, Scott, go ahead and you can pick it up as you'd like.
Oh, thank you. Um, yeah, and I just wanted to say real quick, when the last one just kind of cut off like that,
Uh-huh.
uh, I was I started laughing uh, when we were disconnected because I was like, "You see, God, I'm so glad we just proved I don't know what I'm doing."
That
So,
makes two. Yeah.
um, no, but I really, I'm actually appreciative of those moments right now in my life. I've come to a place where I've said, thank you, God, for making me look less. So anything that happens, you glorify yourself. That's one of my prayers throughout the later part of my life is glorify yourself. Don't lift me up. I don't need to be lifted up. I'm very happy to explain to anybody how I am incompetent and I can't do this. Uh, but uh, but anyway, where was it? Yes, I was talking about
Mhm.
Dragon's Tower,
Mhm.
and she's an amazing person who's just been such an inspiration in my life too. Uh, where I was going with that too was just to say, just I was thanking God in that you've given me, if nothing else happens, if I don't see any other fruit, this was enough. I've touched someone's life deeply, and I just thank God for that. So anyway, that was kind of going around with sometimes it's hard to see why God has put us in the place He has. It was kind of where I was going with that. Um, I don't know. Where else should we go?
Yeah, I mean that's really dovetail on that. I find myself a lot the old adage, plant a seed, it'll grow eventually. I have a hard time after I
Hmm.
plant the seed to take a step back. I'm always trying to like watch it,
Hmm.
and then sometimes a lot of times be disappointed and I go, well, why isn't it growing? That this, I did this thing, I
Yep.
put this seed, and I think that's a hard thing for a lot of people is to have that patience, especially with how digitized everything's come with our phones and how
Oh yeah.
connected we are. We're like, oh well, I did this thing, I did this project, so it should automatically bear the fruit, and then we get into
Hmm.
comparing ourselves to others that may have been doing things longer than us, and yeah, I I do that all the time, but look at things my parents have and what they've done, and it's like, well, it's taken so many years for them to be where they're at, so I can't really compare myself as well as another
Hmm.
organization that has been around for 100 years and we've been around for five to say,
Yeah.
oh, well, why aren't these things happening? And I find
Hmm.
myself in those ruts. And so I definitely follow what you're talking about of, you know, it's it's not for me, you know, it's for God. And at the end of the day, once we're gone, it's going to be those good deeds, those people that we've touched that are going to really take our
Yeah.
legacy. Because we even think of, you know, presidents and supposed important people, and now with the Pope passing, and
Yeah.
uh, yeah, there's only so many people that get kind of remembered. So if we're in it for, you know, all the glory and the fame for ourselves, it doesn't matter. We're not going to be remembered like we think we are, and I think that's a hard
Yeah.
thing to handle.
Yeah. The history books in heaven, I believe, are much different than the history books on earth. And that's one of the things. And your show is about mental health, and you have a focus on mental health. And I think that's one of the most important things for proper mental health is to realize just how worthless you are and how much worth God has placed on you. You can do nothing on your own. To take a deep breath, that breath itself was grace from God. You don't deserve it. You didn't earn it. You did nothing to make it happen. You didn't put this earth in place. You didn't create the atmosphere. You didn't build your own lungs. You didn't do anything. God gave it to you
Mhm.
because God said you're worth it. And I've been going through a deep study in Genesis over the last few years. And one of the things that jumped out at me was that we don't see the creation of man right off the bat. We see, he builds everything else up to that point, and it was all for man. He was building the house. He was building, and there's a lot to this. I won't get into here. Take 3 days,
Mhm.
but he was building a house for his bride. It's one of the pictures, and that we should see in that. And uh, did one of the things that hit me is man did nothing to deserve any of it. He didn't even exist. How could he have done anything to have said, God, I deserve what you're giving me when he wasn't even in the picture?
Mhm.
God formed the mountains, formed the seas, created the plants, made the animals. He was setting it up for his beloved, and his beloved didn't even exist yet. There's nothing man could have possibly done.
Mhm.
That's a picture of grace. That's a picture of undeserved, unmerited favor. God said, Justin, I love you, and I'm going to give everything for you long before you were ever a thought on
Mhm.
this planet, long before you existed as a human being. That when you really grasp that, it's amazing. And that's what I try my hardest, and I fail like everyone else, but I try my hardest to focus everything I do on God, what makes you happy? Because this life is but a vapor.
Mhm.
It's gonna be gone. I don't care if you live to be 1,000.
Mhm.
This life in comparison to eternity is gone. So it's like, to me, I relate it to, it's like sitting down and playing Monopoly.
Mhm.
Yeah, you want to win, you want to do good. It is this fun game and all that. But at the end of the day, the board gets put away and you keep going with your life. That game was just a half hour, an hour, whatever it takes to, however long it takes to play. And whether you won or lost is irrelevant to
Mhm.
you now living your life. And that's this life that we're in here. I relate it to a game.
Mhm.
We're playing this game for what's going to happen after this game. The board game closes, we box it up, we put it away, and now we step into eternity. Now that life is what matters. uh, everything that happens here is the only thing that matters is God, how am I pleasing you? How did I make you happy? How did I make you smile with what I did? Uh, because then for the rest of eternity, we're going to reap that reward. And I don't know. I guess I'll stop with that thought. What you got? Anything?
No, no. Thanks for going into depth because I mean, I it, I love to learn and to kind of be refreshed and I like your analogy, with the board game where, yep, you're playing, you're all involved, and then the game ends at a certain point, and it goes in back into the box, and well, life kind of continues, and even when we have loved ones that pass, really,
Mhm.
really the same thing, it go through grieving and
Yeah.
still go through grieving at different levels. But at some point, it's like, okay, well, the ceremony's gonna be over, the burial or whatever instructions that they're being done, the calling hours and all that. Then there's gonna be a point where, okay, well, that part's done, and so then it's really up to us to keep them alive in our minds and our
Hmm.
spirits, uh and and that part is really hard even just to think about. It's like, oh my gosh, like, well, that's going to be me someday, and then people are just gonna
Yeah.
they're just gonna go get on with their lives. Like, oh my gosh, like I thought I was this important person and that, and it's like, well,
Uh-huh.
my cousin, he said best. Uh we were together at one time, and he said, he's like, I've been to Graceland, and he said, you know what's missing? And I said, so I don't know. And he goes, well, all Elvis's things are there, but Elvis isn't there. Like, he's not. So you can
Yeah.
accumulate whatever we want, houses, cars, boats, what have you. It
Hmm.
can't take it with you. And I think that's uh, just a good reminder, and it really kind of just brings that perspective down to where it is that, because I mean, I'm guilty of it with having an ego and time
Yeah.
time to time, and I go, okay, well, when you kind of get brought back down to earth, back down to life, and like, wow, like, what's actually going to happen? And then to your point, and the purpose, and why are we here? And we're here for a
Hmm.
reason, and uh, many reasons, and some we know, some we won't find out, and others
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to share. There's a friend of mine who's a missionary,
Hmm.
uh, and he's a missionary to Mexico, and he's a Mexican citizen, came across illegally years ago. And he jokes about how he was living in L.A. and the agents would come once a week, and they would say, "Yep, you're not supposed to be here. Come back," and they deport him. And by that afternoon, he was back because he knew how to get back in.
Hmm.
And they would deport him out, and he would just be right back. And it was just a cyclical thing. They just kept doing their job, deporting him. He just kept coming right back. And he said that one time, so he moved to Iowa, which is where he moved to Iowa, and he's working a factory job. And this little Jewish guy wants to keep telling him about Jesus. And he's sick of it. He doesn't want anything to do with it. And he keeps telling this guy, get away from me. Oh, I'm sorry. You cool?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. My daughter, she's trying to whisper, and I'm trying to. Yeah, everything's good.
No,
Uh,
that's
we,
totally cool.
yeah, we had a
But
former.
anyway,
Yeah,
Oh,
we had
go ahead.
we just had a former neighbor where we used to live, and she brought um an Easter basket for her, and
Oh,
my
cool.
wife's in the basement. I'm up here, and she's like, she's got to go to the dentist. She's in her car. And I was like, well, you know, give her a hug, say thank you. It's like feels horrible. She's like, no, no, she's already gone. I'm like, all right. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Uh, but hey, once again, proof it's not about us.
That's right.
Um, but this guy, he said this guy kept witnessing to my friend.
Mm,
Finally, he just says, "You tell me about Jesus one more time, I'm gonna beat the living snot out of you." And
mm,
he kept going. So this guy with a few of his friends meet him after work outside, and they beat him up.
mm,
And he essentially doesn't see him again, leaves that job, goes somewhere else, and about a year later, he accepts Jesus as a savior. And he said, and that guy was one of the reasons,
mm,
because he said that that guy uh, was willing to be beaten up for this. And he said, uh, uh, that guy just wouldn't give up. And he said that just kept eating at him. And he was like, it must really mean something. This must be real if he was willing to go through that for me,
mm,
for this. And but the thing I always remember about that story that makes an impact to me
mm.
is that guy that he said he was one of the reasons. I don't believe he knows,
Oh,
what
really?
happened. So and that's why I say it's important to understand I'm here, I have to obey God. When God says go, he knows what he's doing. You might never see the results. That's okay. You don't have to. You just got to trust him that he knows what's going on. So that guy never saw the results of this guy not only turning his life to Christ, but now he's a missionary and he's reaching, hundreds, thousands of other people, and he's touching lives, and he's reaching out to hurting souls that need him. And this one guy might be going, God, what's happening? Why am I doing this? I'm not seeing anything.
Mm, wow. When you when you're when you're in your creative space, is that
Mhm.
is that time that uh, you set aside, or is it moments that come up and you're like, okay, I gotta stop what I'm doing and I gotta get this down. I'm just curious on how that, and I know it's probably like a
Yeah.
lot of different things.
Well, for me, it's I there is a small percentage. I'd say about 20% is just I should work on this, just focus, just sit down, make it happen.
Hmm.
Uh, but I don't like to do that as much as possible. I want it to be just flowing and it has to come out of me.
Hmm.
But there is a certain amount of discipline where you say, look, just set everything else aside and focus. But usually what I try to do is when I come up with an inspiration for something, uh, when something hits me, write it down. Write it down at that moment. And usually I can't write it down. I don't have a pen or paper, so I'll
Hmm.
I'll grab my phone, I'll pull up my email, and I will email myself.
Oh.
And I will text, hey, this is my idea. And so I send that email to myself,
Uh-huh.
so I don't forget it. And then when then what's going on is I'm working, I'm doing other stuff, and I'm constantly thinking, oh, that I got to get in on that. I get hungry for it. So
Mm-hmm.
then my first free moment, it's like when I jump in, the juices have been flowing, and I just start writing, and I start creating because it's already been working in my mind for a long time. Now, when does that inspiration come? I don't know. It just
Hmm.
happens.
Hmm.
Sometimes it doesn't come. It doesn't come, and you're like, I'm on a maybe with Spirit Man, you're like, I really told him I'd get him the next comic. I told the artist Paul,
Yeah.
I'll get him the next comic, and I got to get this done. And you'll sit and you'll focus and you'll work on it. And for me personally, the most difficult thing about writing
Hmm.
is the blank page to start with. It's Oh my goodness, it's crazy difficult. I might have a few ideas about how it goes, but I don't know how to start and get there to that point or what have you. Once it's like once I start writing, the dam breaks. It's
Hmm.
like what sometimes I will write something that sounds dumb just to get something on the page.
Yeah.
Or I'll write a skeletal version of it. I won't write in depth. Uh I'll just write, uh, um, how are you doing? I'm fine. I need to get this done. Okay, then let's do it. And, a very bare bones version that does not sound good at all, but I'm getting the general plot or the general idea of what's happening out. And then when I go back and reread it, it's like now my mind is not focused on creating something, it's following along with that. And now things start to flow at that point. Now I start to speak more naturally. Now I wouldn't say it like that. I'd say it like this. And
Hmm.
and now it starts to become flesh and not just a skeleton.
Great.
That's
Now,
how I work.
uh, so an individual who, I guess, what may be things or topics that an individual as they're growing up might reveal to them or to their teachers or family that writing, creating might be a way that they want to go and they want to at least try out. Do you have any maybe insight? And I know it's probably there's no one size fits all, but just kind
Right.
of
Oh,
overall, maybe.
yeah. No, you're definitely right with that. No, one size definitely does not fit all. Some advice I would give to people who are thinking about it is one, uh, treat it like you will never make a dime. Treat it like you will never see any money from this at all. Just assume right now you will never have a career in this. You will
Hmm.
never make any money whatsoever. Do you still want to do it? And if the answer is yes, then go for it because
Hmm.
then it's a passion growing within you. Now, I'm not saying that certain people can't have good careers and make lots of money in things they don't really love. Um, I I mean, I have many jobs that I've had in my life I've been very good at, and I'm professional and I care and I do the best for my employer. But I have never had one job that I've said, the job is why I'm here.
Hmm.
The money is why I'm here.
Yeah.
I need to make a living. I need to pay the bills.
Yeah.
I've longed for a job that I would, you don't have to pay me. I just want to be here.
Hmm.
Never had one. So I'm not worried about making money off of this. I mean, I would love to make money off of this. If my novel sold a million copies, if Spirit Man, if it took off, became a major motion picture or something like that,
Hmm.
I wouldn't complain, but I'm not looking for that. I
Hmm.
love to do this, whether I make a single dime on it ever. And quite frankly, Paul and I, for Spirit Man, we put a lot more money into that than when we've seen back.
Yeah.
We give away the comic as much as possible because we see it as more of a ministry than a
Hmm.
money-making venture. But that's the number one rule I tell people is it does it come from here or does it come from here? Because if it comes from here, then you're gonna love it, and you is gonna come out onto the page, who you are and your passion, and that is gonna make the final project so much more believable and real and exciting and emotional and just absorbing. If this is the only thing going on the page, it can be entertaining. I mean,
Hmm.
how many movies have we seen in our lives that we came out of and we went, yeah, I had a good 2 hours. That was a fun time. Never going to remember it again, but yeah,
Hmm.
I paid my ticket and I enjoyed myself. Versus how many movies or shows you just repeat and they sucked you in and they
Hmm.
just absorbed you and I am never going to forget that moment and it changed me as a person. That's the difference between writing from here or writing from here.
And I think to revert a little bit back to that play that that you were in, and uh going into that last scene, slip, fell,
Hmm.
have all these thoughts. You were doing it because it was in your heart,
Yeah.
and not just in their head. So it made that those comments at the end where her voice was crackling, made that
Hmm.
all more like, okay, yeah, this is what I love to do, and if I have an opportunity to be paid to do this type of work, I'd love it. But the feeling and the chills and just like, oh my gosh, like we really did affect people, and it we're not always uh, we didn't have to focus on the negative things, and all those can be worked on. But just the mere fact that it was entertainment, but it gripped them from like an emotional standpoint, not just
Hmm.
like a money standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. And I in no way am I trying to hint that if anyone makes money off of this, it's corrupt and wrong. No, of course not. No,
Mm-mm, yeah.
absolutely. A worker is worth his wages. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying if you are uh if you are truly passionate about this, about your writing,
Hmm.
then it's just going to make the product, not only is it going to make the product better in my opinion, but it's going to be something you enjoy doing. If it's coming from here and you're doing it for a buck, then you're gonna hate it after a while. It's just a job. It's not a passion. And as we all know, in any job we've ever had, there come annoyances. There come, oh, I wish I could find a better career. I wish I could find. Uh, if it's coming from within you, you'll never have that because it's who you are. It's what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
That's the best advice I can give anybody. I mean, there's a lot of little technical things that everyone should to for
Mm.
one thing, a little simple thing: learn how to spell, please. Uh, but uh, but little things like that, But yeah, it's just got to be within you.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. It, being 43 years old, the first I was saying the first part of my life, looking at my my family, and the my dad and grandpa was in their 70s, was kind of when they end up passing on. So I kind of look at, I'm like, all right, I'm over to halfway point, uh and I spend a lot of the first half doing things based off of my mind, and want a better title, want a better salary. I mean, obviously everybody wants to be paid
Hmm.
a good wage, and now with Voices for Voices and the things that we're doing now, it's more of it's kind of like to your point, like put a lot more money in it um
Hmm.
than we've gotten out, but I'm pulled in by the heartstrings versus
Yeah.
just the mind and making the buck. And so, I mean, people ask me all the time. I was like, yeah, like 10 years ago, I would never dreamed that I would be that the pendulum would have, went so much the other
Yep.
way. But it's but that's it hits to your point that if you do something you like to do, and you would do it for no money, uh, then that's
Hmm.
something to uh, be a good thing to at least to explore and see. Now, when
Yeah.
you um, because you mentioned, prior to the internet, we got about 8 minutes left, just as an
Sure.
FYI.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I know I should have said that the last time it popped up, but that's my fault. Happens. Uh, as far as like the submission process, you mentioned that prior to internet, you had to like be like face to face, you had to share to see if there was an interest in it. How does that process, or has that changed? Somebody has a work that they put together, and they say, okay, now what do I do? And not that somebody's going to be interested, but at
Right.
least to test the waters.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm the last person to ask that question to. I have been so blessed. Paul does 90% of everything. He's online. He knows. I went to my first comic convention,
Uh-huh.
my first Comic Con with him with this comic. He set everything up. I have been
Mm,
so blessed that I don't know anything about that. I just write. And I say, Paul, here's my script. And he's got it. He sets up the website. He set up our website.
mhm.
Spiritmancomics.com is all him.
It's awesome, by the
Uh,
way. Check it out.
oh, thank you.
Mhm.
And it's free. It's free online for anyone who wants to check it out. But all he does the artwork. He does all of that himself. And right now, I'm kind of I'm very intimidated by all of that. And it's not that I'm unintelligent. I just, I've got other duties, I've got other
Mhm.
things going on, I have other scripts. When I have free time, I just want to write.
Mhm.
I don't want to dig into, well, how do I do this and how do I do whatever. So when I started looking to get my novel published, I went the traditional route. I went to publishers, and 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 I got some positive feedback. Hey, a lot of interest in this, but unfortunately, we can only publish 1% of what we get. You didn't quite make the cut, all that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But other than that, I don't know. A lot of people have told me you have this option, you have this option, you have this option, you can self-publish, you can do this. I have no idea. I have
Mhm.
no idea if I have first clue as to how to do that. And and again, I bring that around to if anything good comes from this, it ain't coming from me.
Mhm.
It's coming from God because I'm a brilliant idiot is what I am. I'm sorry, that's a lousy answer to your question. What do people do? But
No.
all I did was say, I want to write, and God basically threw so many things in my lap that I am just so blessed with. And I give him all the credit for all of that.
And I think that's a good lesson that s- some people innately are able to do that and all the intricacies. But then if we don't know somebody, uh, or if we don't have that knowledge ourselves, the best thing kind of like if the car needs fixed, you take it to a mechanic, and you would go to the specialist.
Yeah.
You find people and reach out to your network to see who's out there, who's trustworthy, and then it's okay to ask for help. I think that's
Hmm.
something that uh, I know I've been, I can do everything myself and I can power through it. And well, that may be the case, but it comes at a cost of mental energy, physical energy, depending on what it is. And so
Uh-huh.
it's okay to ask for help. And
Yeah. And
everybody,
and Paul right now is looking into what we can do to try to make Spirit Man a monthly comic. It's been a slow process because I write the script, I hand it to him, he does everything else.
oh
So
yeah.
he's trying to finish inking and coloring what we have right now, put together kind of a pack. And if we can get some interest, if he can get it out there, maybe we can hire someone else to be involved. Maybe we can start putting it on shelves.
Hmm.
He's looking into that right now. But from my part, I'm kind of like, you know what? I trust you.
Yeah.
It's just I hand it off. If I can help, let me know. It's not that I'm lazy. It's not that
Oh
it's just
no.
that I don't know what I'm doing.
Hmm.
I really don't. So, you know,
But yeah, I think that really dovetails into our last couple of minutes. So how can people learn about you, the work you do, Spirit Man, um, all those those personal plugs with the work that
yeah,
you
no,
guys do?
absolutely. www.spiritmancomix.com. Why do we even say the www anymore?
I know I do that.
But spiritmancomics.com if you want to check it out, absolutely free for anyone. A print copy if you would like it. Just there's a way on there you can order one. It does cost because we have
Hmm.
to it costs for us to print it, but we basically make zero on it. We basically give it to you at cost. I have a presence. If you're on Reddit, you can look up EdgiScript, EdgiScript. Check out my stuff. Again, they're just me having fun. But if you want to read that, you can. And maybe one day my novel will be published, but I have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for setting aside, you know, time to talk with us and chat and share.
Yeah,
We
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Definitely value your opinion and what you do, and want to get uh, as much clean material into everybody's hands, especially children. And as we're growing up, they have
Mhm.
lots of choices, and uh, so to have
Yeah.
the background and how you approach things is very
At comic
helpful.
conventions, we've had a couple comments. People walk up and look and goes, "Oh my goodness, your women have clothes on." Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's a big thing because the little things
Hmm.
they add up in the mind. And great. Well, did we miss it? Did I miss anything else you wanted to share?
Not no, I just thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you ever want
Yeah.
to contact me, if you need me again, give me a buzz.
Absolutely. Great. And we want to thank I was able to do it the last episode because we ran right up against time, which is actually good that we were able to max that out. That's what we like to do. We want to thank again our listeners, our viewers. We're
Yeah.
well over 200 episodes. Check us out. We're everywhere, from video, uh, YouTube, Rumble, and then all the audio platforms. And we just are grateful to have the opportunity to share the work and individuals like yourself, and keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, we'll definitely be reaching out here in the near future to as we all progress in whatever manner that
Yeah.
is. We'll go. Great. So until next time, please be a voice for you or somebody in need.